The evidence has been gathered by agencies on the ground in Gaza, and the United Nations say it is irrefutable. 9-year-old Mariam was filmed by UNICEF in early July. This was her a month later, featured in a World Food Programme video. She was a healthy 25 kilos until the war. Her weight has dropped to less than half that. Or Salem, filmed by ITV's cameraman in Gaza today, 7 months old, suffering from severe malnutrition, but discharged after 40 days in hospital due to a lack of medicine.
The hospital told me that his situation is critical. I suffer with him a lot. I can't find milk, food supplements or nappies. There are so many other children in the same situation at the hospital, and they can't help them either.
The report was compiled by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, a lengthy name, but the single word it deployed, famine, evokes strong emotions. So note how many times it was repeated by the former British diplomat, who's now the UN's emergency coordinator.
It is a famine, the Gaza famine. It is a famine openly promoted by some Israeli leaders as a weapon of war. It is a predictable and a preventable famine. A famine caused by cruelty, justified by revenge, enabled by indifference, and sustained by complicity.
But he's been criticised in the past by the Israeli government, which doubled down on its response. The IPC report is an outright lie, it said. Israel does not have a policy of starvation. Israel has a policy of preventing starvation. And yet, if the Israeli policy was working properly, there wouldn't need to be food dropped haphazardly from the air and fought over on the ground. Israel operates a blockade, insisting on making its own decisions on how aid is delivered, which may not get to those most in need. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy called the IPC report utterly horrifying. One of his predecessors said it was a moral and political scandal.
The diplomatic machinery needs to go into overdrive. Obviously, President Trump is a critical player in this. The United States has a unique relationship with Israel. It has more influence than anyone else.
Isn't it actions which will change things? Does it need Britain to break off diplomatic relations?
I think we need more dialogue with Israel, not less. We need to make sure that the full force of cross-party opinion is felt and the full force of international opinion is felt as well.
Fighting over the word famine seems trivial compared to the conflict on the ground. These are some of the latest victims, among them a child who died instantly in an artillery strike. A quick death which comes to many, while those who survive face the prospect of more prolonged suffering.
Ian, I'm mindful that Israel is currently preparing another military operation in Gaza City. Is this classification going to make it any more likely that food is going to get to the people that need it?
It seems unlikely. I mean, the first step might be a unified approach from the international community to defend the integrity of these statistics, because, as we've heard, Israel utterly rejects them. And instead, to counter them, Benjamin Netanyahu's office produced its own figures today about how much aid it says Israel has delivered since May. 10,000 aid trucks, 500 tons of baby food, more than 2 million food packages, but dozens, maybe hundreds of people have been killed at these rather chaotic food distribution sites. To aid agencies, the solution is very simple. Open every crossing, open every road, repeat what happened earlier in the year when there was a temporary ceasefire, allow international trucks in. Israel says no because Hamas steals the food. But it's hard to see how the language of condemnation gets any stronger. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said today, just when it seems there are no words left to describe the living hell in Gaza, now a new one has been added: famine. Now, he and dozens of aid agencies are laying the blame firmly at Israel's door. They call it a man-made famine, and they predict the numbers will grow to perhaps even more than half the population with this war intensifying.